is Eileen White Swan. Welcome to the Mysterious Domain. Today we're going to do the final third part of the spear suit in the House of Pendragon. And these last 4 cards are where it gets really intense in the story of Arthur and his family. And keeping with the theme of the Bloodlines, we're going to begin with Merlin. Merlin became famous when he discovered that the reason King Vortigern's tower would not stay up when he was building it was because there were 2 dragons fighting underneath the foundations of the building, a red dragon and a white dragon. And Merlin discovered these dragons and he stopped them fighting. And then the tower stayed stable. There is some alchemical connotations to these dragons fighting, and they kind of represent the male and female, the yin and yang, the fire and water, which are very important in the fairy tradition, as in Faery, said in the ballad of Thomas the Rhymer, that in Faery there are waters that run salt with tears and red with blood, for all the blood that was shed on earth flows through the springs of that country. And it is because Faery is considered the land of the dead. But in fairy tradition, we find they have a kind of life in the other world. And in keeping with our theme of bloodlines, this is also the land of the ancestors, and that's just kind of a side note. The now famous Merlin attaches himself to Castle Pendragon, which is in Tintagel, Cornwall, and there he organizes for the birth of Arthur by assisting the lustful Arthur Pendragon to sleep with Igraine, who was married to a duke, Groa, and Uther ruthlessly sent Groa up to be murdered in a hunting accident, and then Merlin used his magical powers to make Arthur Pendragon look like Groa, so Igraine would sleep with him and they conceived Arthur. So not to be daunted, Merlin also interfered with Sir Lancelot. So Sir Lancelot was not supposed to be in love with Guinevere. He was supposed to be married to the Lily Maid Elaine. The Lily Maid Elaine was also called the Lily Maid of Astolat, and she lived in Castle Corbinet. And she had, it's a long story, but she had Sir Lancelot's shield, which she prized among all her possessions. Well, cut a long story short, Lancelot went to a tournament at Castle Corbinet without Guinevere, who was ill, and he met Elaine, who was his destined partner. And Merlin took the opportunity to make Elaine, by magic, look like Guinevere so that Lancelot would sleep with her. And through their union, the Grail Knight, Sir Galahad, was born. So this whole idea of the bloodlines and keeping the certain powers within the family line was engineered by Merlin. It's interesting that in the fiery suit we have, lust and romantic love and all these passions coming through and igniting and creating heroes. Heroes that would be the best knights in the world, heroes that would achieve the Holy Grail, and heroes that would create a kingdom of peace and joy and tranquility in the midst of barbaric chaos. Sometimes those fires rage high and fierce and can get out of control, as we shall see. In the 7 of Spears, we have Percival, who has arrived at the Castle of Maidens on the Grail Quest. And one of the maidens suggests that he use a particular room that night called the Room of the Perilous Bed. The maiden tells him whatever he does, he must not flinch, he must not be afraid, no matter what happens in that room. So he knows it's perilous. Now, though Percival is not a romantic figure, he has to become a great knight. He's the fool, he's finally growing up, he's having all these experiences, and this is a test of courage, as well as the ability to see through illusions. So with much trepidation, Percival goes into this room, and in it he sees a round bed, and when he lies down on the bed and falls asleep, and then he is wakened in the night by the bed spinning around in circles. Fiery spears are flying at him, and a lion tries to leap on the bed. His test, and he does pass it, is to just not flinch and not be afraid. He succeeds in this, and the minute he chooses to not respond at all to these threats, they vanish like a dream. Because the Seven of Spears or Wands is about having the courage to stand your ground, this is what Percival does, so he gets the honor of being the Seven of Spears. In the Eight of Spears we have Lancelot and Guinevere. More passion, more lust, more love, more fiery action. Guinevere has been discovered to be an adulteress, and King Arthur feels he has no choice, as far as the kingdom is concerned, except to punish her, and decides that she must be burned at the stake. When Lancelot finds out about this, he races in, he saves Guinevere from the fire, puts her on the back of his horse, and runs out of the castle gates, and in the process, he kills two of Sir Gawaine's brothers. And this is one of the reasons that the Round Table is destroyed, because Gawain never forgives Lancelot for killing his brother. This is the dangerous side of fire, the danger of the swift flames of the Eight of Spears, that rash things happen because the fire is out of control. Now the Nine of Spears shows a different kind of passion, a different kind of fire, a mystical fire. Sir Lancelot waits on the shore. He sees the holy city of Sarras, which is his destination on the Grail quest, in the distance. He's almost there. And he's waiting, and he sees a ship approach the shore. It's very mysterious because no one seems to be piloting the ship. Eventually he will board this ship, and he will find the sister of Percival, Dindrain, in a living sleep on a bed on this ship. And the various banners and symbols that are all around her declare that she is to bring Sir Lancelot to the culmination of the Grail quest. Of course, because he's a sinful creature, Lancelot cannot achieve the Grail, but his son, Galahad, who he fathered with Elaine of Astolat, will achieve the vision of the Holy Grail and the transmutation that comes with it. The Ten of Spears brings us back to Merlin, and this is the end of Merlin's life. So it's only fitting he be at the end of the spear suit. And he is with the Lady of the Lake, Nimue, who he taught all of his magical techniques. He was really in love with her, and as an old man in love with a very young woman. It's that kind of story. So he taught her everything he knew, and in the end, she turned on him and imprisoned him in a crystal tower. So here we see him in the crystal tower surrounded with hawthorn bushes, so he can't get out. And she's there saying, "Aha, I got you." But, you know, there's another story, which is that, another spin on the story, that it was time for Merlin to go, and she merely helped him to enter the other world. And as more happy ending as that is, I think the first version is more fitting in the sense that Merlin has been messing around with people's love lives all through the Arthurian legend. In a sense, he got his comeuppance. I know that's not very nice, but you know, one could say he kind of had it coming, right? So that's the House of Pendragon, the Suit of Spears, in 3 parts. I still have 2 more suits, Pentacles and Cups to go, and the full major arcana. So if you'd like to hear the rest, please leave a comment and like and subscribe and share, because maybe there are more people out there that would be interested in these stories in this tarot deck. Tuathadedanaantarot deck. If you would like to purchase the tuathadedanaantarot deck, it's linked below in the description, and it comes in a basic deck and in a luxury deluxe, linen finish deck, which are larger cards. And they have gilded edges and 2 significators. And there's also a link for the free guidebook. It's a full color PDF and has all these stories in it, pictures of the cards. It's a proper tarot guidebook. And I hope you take advantage of that. And then maybe you can decide whether you would like the deck or not. And anyway, thank you so much for spending time here and learning about the tuathadedanaantarot deck. And I certainly hope you come back. And in the meantime, take real good care of yourselves. And hopefully I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.